And now, the Android Basics segment. This is a segment where we discuss the things that power your device from behind the scenes. And now, here's this week's episode, Android Basics.
Now we turn to our Android Basics section, and it's a release that I think a lot of Braille users, particularly more modern displays, have been waiting for. So in TALKBack version 15.2, if you own a Braille display, which uses what they call the HID protocol or HID, you can finally use that display over Bluetooth. Warren, we've been waiting for this for a while, haven't we?
Oh boy, you can say that again. I mean, we've been waiting for it for eons, and finally that happened with this release of TALKBack 15.2. And we just want to say that if you have a device that relies on this protocol, you probably want to check the manufacturer's website to see if there's a firmware update, because that's important if you really want to be able to have access to it. So it's nice to check that to see if there's any updates. But I can confirm that it works because I tested it out with the Humanware NLS e-reader, and it sure works. So if you have one of those and you've been pining away and waiting for that thing to come through, that thing is now available and you could take advantage of it. I tried it, of course, on my Pixel phone. I don't have One UI 7 to see if it would work on it or not. So I can't say for sure if it works on the Samsung devices or not. But I hope that when Samsung pushes out version 15.2, that it too would work. I would like to believe it would.
Yeah, and that'll be a little while in the coming, won't it? But do we imagine if we install Google TalkBack on a Samsung phone running One UI 7, it ought to work?
No, really. I mean,
No.
Even though we got the device a couple of weeks ago, it has a lot of issues with even the UI, the Android itself. So I don't want to do another risk by installing Google TalkBack right now.
No. I don't have an HID display, unfortunately. I think I'd probably take the risk. But
yeah, I don't recommend installing it anymore, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. Like it should work with, if it's running 15.2 and Android 15, it should work. So, yeah.
I would like to believe that it would work if you manage to get it running, because it's dependent on maybe load patch from there that makes it possible to work. So I don't see why it wouldn't work. So if you're really, really wanting to do that and you have the know-how, I believe it would work.
Yeah. Was there anything else new in this release, or was it just that?
I think that was the focus of this release, though, because it's a very important issue that people have been talking about, and I know people have been kind of rather frustrated and waiting. So it made sense that this was the focal part of what was new with this update.
Warren, I want to point something out related to the announcement or the new features in TalkBack, the section that you have in the settings, and when you update, you see an overview of the new features. Well, in this release, they talked about the HID support, but they didn't mention that it's an Android 15 exclusive. So I think it's something, maybe it's unintentional from on their side, but it's just people shouldn't be confused. Well, in the what's new section, you won't see anything related to the exclusivity, Android 15 exclusivity. So you will just see HID is now supported, and you can just connect after updating your Braille display. But in fact, since I'm on Android 14, I won't be able to use it anyway. No. But actually, I don't have any Braille display to test it. But I think they should have mentioned this in the what's new section, but they didn't. Yeah, but people should know that it does work only on Android 15.
You're correct, Karen. So you have to be running Android 15 or higher. So in other words, you must be running Android 15 or Android 16 beta in order for this to work. If you have Android 14, you're left in the cold. And I think that probably goes back though, because earlier on, some of the features only worked with Android 15. But I would love to see it going back. But sometimes these things don't go back, and especially with TalkBack, you never can tell. But I'm hoping though that it would trickle down, because it makes sense if one doesn't have an Android 15, or you have a device that is not getting updated to Android 15, and you have a Braille display that has this protocol. I think you shouldn't be left out in the cold.